such a privilege and an honor to even be considered to come up here and talk to you fine ladies on a topic such as the virtuous woman and the powerhouse that she was, and just specifically about entrepreneurship. And so I was told that we're dealing with queens here. So she was a queen, and we are all queens, even if you don't know it. We are queens indeed. And so the scripture that I am going to be focusing on is going to be Proverbs 31, verse 16. But I'm going to start at 14. And it reads, "She is like the merchant's ships. She bringeth her food from afar. She riseth also while it is yet night, and giveth meat to her household, and a portion to her maidens." Verse 16 says, "She considereth a field, and buyeth it. Yes. With the fruit of her hands, she planted a vineyard." Yes. This woman had many attributes that were admirable. Among these attributes was her business sense. She was business savvy. She had what is called business acumen, which is defined as keenness and quickness in understanding and dealing with a business situation in a manner that is likely to lead to a good outcome. The verse says that she considered the field and then bought it. Well, to consider means to contemplate or to review, to deliberate, to meditate on, to assess, to evaluate, to appraise. She examined the field to determine if it was worth the investment. In real estate, we call this determining the ROI, or it's also called the return on investment. So this means this woman, this virtuous woman, was not impulsive. You know how some of us are. We go to the store, Target, for instance. That's me. Go in Target, and we have one goal in mind. I need to get a pack of napkins. But we go in, and we see those bright red carts, and we say, well, you know what? I'm just going to grab a cart, just in case. Then you grab the cart, and you walk in. But you know what they put in the front? What's in the front of every Target? The women's section. The dollar section, no, you're right. The dollar section is right at the front. That's intentional. It's intentional, right? And so you go, and next thing you know, your cart is full of items that now you needed. Really, you wanted them. Now, the thing is, these items are still, they might be useful. But was it the intended purpose for that visit? Could that time have been spent better? Could that money have been spent more wisely? Yes. But this woman, she was not easily distracted. She's strategic and she's purposeful. She's intentional. One thing that I have implemented as an entrepreneur, in fact, one thing that I implement just in life in general now, is being more intentional. Intentional typically means doing things by design, deliberate, calculating, doing things on purpose. Mm-hmm. When you are intentional, you don't waste time. Time is precious and cannot be replaced. Have you ever heard the time, there aren't enough hours in a day? Yes. Well, there actually are enough hours in a day. We just don't make the proper use of those hours. God knew what he was doing. It's us. The fault is in us. Before I became a wife, a mother, an overall woman of purpose, I would fill my day with a whole bunch of non-factors, things that didn't matter. These things weren't necessarily negative or bad. It just means that these things profited me nothing. They didn't fulfill any purpose. Now that I'm purpose-driven, I don't have the option to waste time, especially being an entrepreneur. When you're purpose-driven, you start looking at time differently. Now you see time as an investment. See, we've been taught so many things, so many sayings out there, like, what's the one? Time is money. Well, that's not true. Here's the thing. Money can be made. Ignorance is bliss. That's probably one of the worst things. Ignorance, I'm telling you what ignorance is. Ignorance is expensive.
There you go.
Now, sit down here and talk about credit, right? And think about all of the things that we did not learn coming up, that she just sat here and told us about. Well, because we didn't know those things, now it's costing us, right? So ignorance is expensive. Another thing is that we learn, a penny saved is a penny earned. Now, here's my issue with that. Now, I don't have any problem with saving. I think saving money is very important. However, if you know anything about money, it depreciates over time. For instance, $1 million. At one point, you hear $1 million is a lot of money. 20 years ago, $1 million is not $1 million today. Right? It does not hold the same value. So that penny, I don't know how much lower you can get from a penny. You don't have anything. So this woman, we're talking about a virtuous woman, she was an investor. She understood the importance of investing. And she understood that when she's making an investment, there has to be a return on that investment. Again, the ROI. Are you benefiting spiritually, mentally, health-wise? Are you advancing your business? Is your home life improving? Are you building your family? Are you helping somebody? And most importantly, are you glorifying God? When you're making an investment with your time and with yourself, these are the things that ought to be considered, right? What is your point? What is the purpose? Another thing that happens when we start being intentional is you become more goal-oriented. You start setting goals, and once a goal is set, you start striving to attain that goal. You become more focused because you have a destination to reach. Now, I'm guilty of this. Have you ever gotten in the car and started driving with no place to go? You just never did that. Oh, good. But I've done that. Like, you just want to get out of the house and start driving. But what happens is you start riding around aimlessly. And I'm telling you this, when you don't have anything to do with your time, you get into trouble. That's reality. So being intentional, knowing what you're doing. So when you get in the car and you know where you're going, like for instance, if you're going to King of Prussia, are you going to be on the Walk-in Bridge? No. So when you're intentional with your time and with what you're doing, you have a goal and you move accordingly. And then things that come, distractions won't easily sway you. Because I have a goal. If my goal is that door, then I'm not going to turn around and, walk this way. Amen. That's my goal. So I'm tunnel vision is what they call it. This is the importance, though, of planning. And I like the saying, by failing to plan, you are planning to fail. That is so true. This woman was a planner. The entrepreneur is a planner. But when you're a planner, you have to have other qualities to support your plan and to bring your objective to fruition. First of all, you have to be innovative. You have to be a creator. You have to be tenacious, which means stubbornness and sticking to a task. You gotta have thick skin. You can't give up easily. You have to have follow through. How many people have started things that you just kind of follow through is so important. This woman, this virtuous woman, she had follow through. And you have to have vision. Vision is so important. This woman was a visionary. She could see ahead. She wasn't looking for overnight success. It says she planted a vineyard. But what did she buy? She bought a field. She didn't buy an existing vineyard. She planted one. And if you know anything about planting, it takes time. Right? So it was a seed that was planted. And then that means what did she have to have? Patience. Right? And what she had the vision, she had the patience in order to plant something and see it through to fruition. Because she knew she had to wait for the vineyard to materialize before it would become profitable. But see, in order to have vision, you must first recognize your God-given talents and gifts. In my own experience, I began intentionally focusing on my own attributes and focusing on ways in which I could capitalize on them. Proverbs 18 says, "A man's gift maketh room for him, and bringeth him before great men." What are the fruits of your hands? What are your gifts? What are your strengths? As women, we spend a lot of time and energy criticizing ourselves, feeling like we're inadequate, comparing ourselves with others. And we all do have flaws. We do. We have shortcomings. But that's where Christ comes in. Let him make the difference. Let him be the difference. Once I shifted my focus and stopped worrying about the hurdles and the obstacles that I would face, things in business for me started to happen more seamlessly. And every day as I get better, my purpose is becoming more apparent. If you really want to make a difference and be more effective, like this woman, you must first realize your potential. I encourage all of you to invest the time in you, to becoming a better you, to becoming the best version of yourself possible, so that you can be more intentional and live a life on purpose. So you can't help others if you don't first help yourself. You know, when you're on a plane and they talk about the instructions and they give a safety part we don't listen to. But what they say is, when the air, the oxygen comes in, what do they say? They say experience, or they say save yourself. Why is that? Well, if I have 4 boys, right? But if I'm giving it to my son who's sitting right next to me, and then I pass out, what good is he? He's 3. Then I have a 2-year-old. So you have to help yourself first, and then you become more effective. Then you have a purpose, and now you're helping somebody. Yes. So one of my passions, greatest passions as a realtor, and for some of you, like, what are you doing with? So I'm a realtor and I'm a real estate investor. And one of my biggest passions is helping people reach their goals and attain home ownership. So their goals in terms of real estate is concerned. And so I know that there are a lot of hurdles that people feel they have, but they're really not things that can't be fixed.
That's right. That's right.
They're not things that we can't overcome. And so I just want to say this in closing. If anyone ever has any questions, needs, you want to sell a house, you want to buy a house, you're renting currently, but you think, you're ready to own. This is something a lot of people don't know. You're spending more money renting than you would be if you were owning that same home. And a lot of people don't know that. So some people say, I can't afford to own a home. This is one thing that was powerful that I heard. My husband was listening to a motivational speaker who speaks to investors. And he said, if you think that investing your money is risky, wait till you get the bill on not investing. That was powerful and hit me like a ton of bricks. Again, your money is going to depreciate. The things that you can do with real estate, I'm passionate about it because it allows people who weren't born into wealth to attain wealth.
That's it.
So you could, just by purchasing a home, we purchased our first home together years ago, but I was able to utilize that home. I knew enough to know, see, I'm a bargain shopper, so my husband says it's cheap. I just think it's smart. So I'm frugal. I'm being honest, right? So I'm a bargain shopper. I don't buy anything at full price. That's just how I am. So that's how I am with real estate. That's right. So when we bought our house, we bought it and it was deeply discounted. Well, today we are still profiting from that investment. And so a lot of people don't know that when you have real estate, what you can do is you can pull what they call equity out of that house. So for instance, I'll give you a simple example. You buy a house for $100,000. But say every other house on the block is worth $160,000. This means that you have equity in your house. How much equity? About $60,000. So now what can you do with that? You can do what's called a refinance. Okay, a lot of people don't know what that is, but that's when you just do another loan on top of the one or to replace the current loan that you have. And now you can pull out cash. And what can you do with this cash? Don't go to the mall. Don't be rich and tax me my check, please. Don't go to the mall, don't get a card, don't splurge on Christmas. You can invest that money. You can utilize that money to buy a house, to buy a rental property. Now you have a property that is now giving you passive income. That means you're asleep, and guess what? You're making money on that rental property. So, I'm here definitely if anyone needs any questions answered as it pertains to real estate, home ownership. If you have any needs, if you know somebody, your cousin needs to sell a house, buy a house, whatever, I'm here. I'm happy to help you. And thanks again so much for your time.
All right now.
That's my one.
That's mine.